Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by the Bears Casino. Ronnie Rantz alongside TK Tommy Krysan. TK joining us from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. A busy Friday over there with the holidays around the corner. Lots of great eats. I am coming to you from the undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. A week from yesterday, so that's the 11th, we will be launching our Santa Super 7 online auction. So be looking for that. It'll wrap up Wednesday night, the 17th, and you get a chance to get some great gifts, help out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Hey, you need a deduction through a charity? We're your guy. Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Foundation, before the first of the year, dump some of that cash before Uncle Sam gets it, and get some great items for the holidays. That'll be coming up. The Santa's Super 7 online auction. We'll crank everything out. That way you can pick it up on the 18th, 19th. We can ship it to you on the 18th. That way you get it before Christmas.
Well,
My
Ronnie,
name is
on
Ronnie
that, let me
Rantz.
wait. Before you introduce yourself, I want to encourage people to do the Super Santa. I always participate in the LA Sports Hall of Fame auctions and stuff. I got the round of golf for at the island over in Plaquemine, which we'll use once the weather warms up a little bit. So I'm a highly encourage people to lasportshall.com. Of course, we'll remind you about it between now and then. Now, Ronnie, let's go ahead. You need to introduce yourself to some people here, right?
Yeah, because I haven't been on the show the last couple of times this week. So my name's Ronnie Rantz, host of Sports Shorts Daily for the last 15 years. Glad you could be with us. uh, Tommy, that when we play that golf finally over at the island, you might have to give me strokes, man. It was bad earlier this week. I played over in Miami, went to the Saints Dolphins game on Sunday. I watched Olave drop a surefire touchdown that would have won the game for the Saints. I didn't hate that he dropped it because I had the under and because I've got the big bet on the Saints to win under 3.5 games this season. They're at 2, holding steady, staring down the barrel. They're a dog this week at Tampa. They're an 8.5 point dog against Tampa and Baker Mayfield at home. I don't think the Saints are going to win that one, but they do have some winnable games coming up. Jets at home, although the Jets showed some life and beat the Falcons last week, and at Tennessee. The Titans are the worst team in football. The Saints will play at Tennessee in December. So 2 really winnable games there that I need the Saints to go 1-1 on.
I think the Saints and the Titans will end in a tie. That's how bad they both are. Okay. And Ronnie, we got a nice comment here. Bryce Boudreaux likes your hat.
Yeah, tell Bryce. I'm rocking the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. This is the
You got the hat and the
2024
shirt.
2025 hat. We got a new hat coming in
Oh, really?
26. Going to be looking different than this one. Yeah, rocking a little pullover right here as well. Good colors over there in Lake Charles. By the way, season tickets are on sale right now in Baton Rouge and Lake Charles. For next season. They have general admission tickets in Baton Rouge. We have general admission tickets in Lake Charles. Get them on sale now. You save money, almost 40%. I think you save by getting the season tickets versus buying them at the gate. I will say this, Tommy. We have an all-you-can-eat reserve seat
Oh,
in Lake Charles for right behind the plate and the low levels. We're doing reserve seating. Get your name on your seat. All-you-can-eat wristband. Servers bringing you food. I mean, it's a great deal. So go check that out online at gumbogators.com.
this will be an inside joke. Majority of people won't get it, but you'll chuckle. Be sure that Barry Spears doesn't buy one of those
Oh, wow.
all-you-can-eat seats.
Wow. Yeah. It won't happen. All right, TK, let's talk a little sports. Just last night on LSU women's basketball, they had a national record. They had won 7 games. They had played 7 games
Eight,
this year, scored 100 points or more in all 7 games they
eight,
played. Oh, 8,
eight.
excuse me. 8 games they played. But last night they got close. They won on the road against Duke. They scored 93 points. But more importantly, a tougher test. Don't look at Duke's record. They're better than their record. They have a losing record, but they've also played South Carolina. They played UCLA, LSU, all top 5 in the country. and Duke is a preseason pick to win the ACC. So LSU goes on the road, Tommy. They're down 14-1, but then show some moxie, come back and dominate, run away with it at the end, win by 16, but it wasn't enough for you to cash your ticket.
I bet it at 16 and a half. Didn't buy it down. I'm not a big fan of that. So, and I knew like earlier in the fourth quarter, I'm like, okay, this is a loss. They're not going to cover that. And then I actually went to sleep, saw the score this morning. I said, damn, missed by half a point. But that's why they call it gambling. You're going to win some close ones. You're going to lose some close ones.
Boy, if you could have live bet LSU when they were down 14-1 to start the game, huh? That would have been the way to go. They might have even been. They might have been like a 2-point favorite or something like that at that point. Yeah. So now 9-0, and always that first real road test is a little bit wonky. Speaking of that, LSU men's basketball finds themselves 8-0. They went to Boston College. Crazy game if you watched it. A very entertaining game if you watched it. LSU had a big lead, then they were behind. They were trailing by 4 with a minute to go in the game, forced it into overtime, and then ended up covering the spread. Tommy won by 9, I think. The line was 7.5, I believe. So I was able to cash my winning ticket, but thank God I wasn't watching it until overtime. I'd have had a heart attack there. Because the only way I was going to win is if they went to overtime, as they were trailing going into the last minute of the game. But still, Boston College, not a good team, losing record, but 4-5 now after that game. But still, a win on the road against the ACC. On the road up in Boston. That's a nice win.
Yeah, a real nice win for Matt McMahon and his team, and they're not going undefeated this season. We know that, and they got to play at Texas Tech Sunday, who's a good team. But LSU men and women basketball combined 17-0, so everybody loves a winner. You got 2 winners.
Yeah, Texas Tech will be a nice test. I mean, they're ranked. They'll be coming into Baton Rouge. LSU playing back-to-back ranked opponents.
It's at Texas Tech. It's in Lubbock.
Oh, it is in Lubbock? Okay.
Yeah.
So LSU, Texas Tech, and then SMU. Are you sure both of those games are on the road? Texas Tech and SMU. LSU's going to be playing. Tom's looking it up
for you right now.
But regardless, both teams are ranked. So we'll kind of learn a little something about this LSU basketball team prior to conference.
Let's see. LSU's at Texas Tech. It's in Fort Worth, Texas. So it's it's like a neutral site thing. It's at the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. Obviously, nice. Texas Tech is in Lubbock. So I was wrong and right. It's not at LSU, but it's not at Texas Tech. It'll be at that arena in Fort Worth.
And what about SMU, the next game? Look at LSU schedule. The Dickies Arena, by the way, there'll be a lot of LSU fans there because it's a huge alumni base in the Dallas area. So you're going to have a lot of LSU fans in Fort Worth pulling for the Tigers.
Well, SMU is not till Saturday the 13th, and it'll be at home.
Okay, so I got them.
No, I take that back. It's going to be in the Smoothie King Center.
Okay, there you go.
See, I didn't look that far ahead, but now I'm doing it, obviously.
Well, that's a nice. What time on the 13th, Tommy?
7:30.
All right, might be one I might try to make there. The Smoothie King Center, LSU, 7:30 on the 13th. Down in New Orleans, that could be a good one. But yeah, we'll learn a lot about this LSU basketball team. They hadn't played anybody to this point, but now you're going to play 2 ranked teams, and hopefully they can compete and maybe steal one, particularly the one at home, or home-ish. All right, I have not been on the show this week, and so I have not had a chance to talk about Lane Kiffin. So we'll go back before we go forward to all the activities of this weekend coming up. Hey, credit. Regardless of who gets credit, regardless of who did what, who said what, maybe Tommy Krysan, if he was AD, he could have landed Lane Kiffin because he wanted to come here no matter what. But you got to give Verge credit. Verge Osbury, he was tasked with finding the best coach available. And for an interim or new AD, whatever, he got it done. He got the guy everybody wanted. I can't remember in LSU history the Tigers getting the guy they wanted. There was no other name being thrown around other than Lane Kiffin. I mean, that was the name from the first minute that the job became available, that they fired Brian Kelly. And normally that number one target does not work out. He does not end up at LSU. And Lane Kiffin could have easily stayed at Ole Miss, probably made the same amount of money. They beat LSU. They're going to the playoffs. I mean, all the things that LSU fans want to do, Ole Miss is doing. They got 4 more wins than LSU's got. Florida is a great program. They were courting them. They were going to give them the same amount of money. Great facilities over there, great tradition over there, all the things. But he chose LSU and had to go through hell to do it because not only did he choose LSU, but he really chose them a couple weeks ago. And then your dead man walk in, and you got to watch what you say, and everybody's asking you, and you're walking through the building, and Ole Miss is pressuring you to give them a decision, and you're trying to be coy. So it could not have been fun. I don't envy Lane Kiffin over the last couple of weeks doing what he did. But give Verge and give LSU credit. They landed the guy who I think was the best available coach and the one that moves the meter from an excitement standpoint and from a juice standpoint and from a now donors are willing to reach in their pocket standpoint.
Yeah, it's extremely rare, not just LSU, but any school to get that first name that comes up. You and I have been doing this a while. But nonetheless, Verge does get credit. He's the AD, and, he was out in front of this, and he got it done. And I watched every minute of the press conference on Monday, and I liked the press conference. I was impressed with Lane Kiffin. I thought he looked genuine. I thought you could tell how much of a struggle it was for him to make this decision. But he's made it. He's the LSU coach. It'll be a fun off season. Lots of things already happening with his staff, with recruiting, portal next month. He's going to let Frank Wilson coach LSU in whatever bowl game they go to. And some people saying Music City Bowl, but we'll wait. That's like mock drafts. You don't know what bowl game they're going to yet. But Lane Kiffin is the coach at LSU, and I think Tiger fans are excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, look. The one thing, I mean, in 2023 when Jaden Daniels won the Heisman, LSU had the worst defense in modern era for the LSU, and so you got this Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and you got no shot of making the postseason playoffs and all that because the defense was epically terrible. Then you fast forward to this year, you got one of the better defenses LSU's had in recent times in the modern era, and yet your offense is looks like Danny Etling and the boys back there or something or whatever, or the Anthony Jennings era. Remember those terrible offenses and stuff just 10 years ago? And so we reverted back, and it was just an awful, disastrous deal. So now you have a coach where come hell or high water, LSU's going to figure out a way to score points. Okay. Now, don't know if they're going to be able to stop anybody, but we know Lane Kiffin's the head coach. They're going to be able to score points. I'm not saying that Blake Baker is the only defensive coordinator out there that can win at LSU, but he was a proven commodity. And now we're hearing reports, Tommy, that he's not going to be at LSU.
Yeah, pretty much not going to be at LSU. It's the way it looks. Apparently, Blake Baker and Lane Kiffin couldn't agree on exactly what his role would be. Blake Baker wanted to be defensive coordinator and work with the linebackers. He played linebacker at Tulane, so Lane Kiffin just wanted to be just the defensive coordinator. That got a little sideways. Blake Baker.
Well, maybe he had somebody else in mind for linebacker coach. Who was it?
His brother, Chris.
Lane Kiffin's brother. There you go.
Yeah. So that was blood sticking in water, right? But anyway, so Blake Baker is interviewed with Tulane, is interviewed with Memphis. I can tell you Tulane was at his home in Baton Rouge yesterday at lunchtime, give or take a few minutes. And Tulane plays tonight for an AAC championship and a bid in the college playoffs. So nothing's going to get announced till Saturday or Sunday. We know John Sumrall, who's leaving for Florida, is going to coach Tulane tonight. And I fully expect Blake Baker to be named head coach at Tulane Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever, real soon. Really looks like that's going to happen. Keep in mind, he's a very good linebacker there, played 4 years back before the portal and everybody changed around and stuff. So it looks like Blake Baker can go to Tulane. Here's another thing I was told. Blake Baker's looking at Willie Fritz went to Tulane. He did really well, quadrupled his salary over at Houston.
Yeah.
John Sumrall went to Tulane, did really well, quadrupled his salary or tripled his salary down at Florida. So, and Tulane wants to pay around $4 million for a coach. So Blake Baker's not making $4 now, so he make $4. If he wins for a couple of years, I don't think the cupboard's bare at Tulane. That's obvious. Then he can he'll be a head coach in the SEC 3-4 years from now if he has that success at Tulane.
Yeah, that's going to sting a little bit. It would have been nice, and so I'm curious who they get. Golden, the defense coordinator at Ole Miss, who did such a good job, was named head coach of Ole Miss, like permanently, not interim. They promoted him to head coach. By the way, did you hear Golden talk, the former Southeastern defensive coordinator? Did you hear him speak? Have you seen any clips of him talking?
I have not, but I know his dad real well, and I haven't talked to Pete in a long time.
So the new Ole Miss coach, who's defense coordinator at Ole Miss under Kiffin, who spent time at Hammond. You know how, like, whenever you coach under someone, like, I can do a Skip Bertman impression, right? Mike Bianco, who coached and played at LSU, does, is like a mini Skip. Jim Wells, mini Skip. Anybody who spends time with their mentors a lot, you kind of take on their mannerisms, you take on what they say, their cadence and things like that. He is a Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, and just watch any video of him talking to his team, talking to the media in the last 2 weeks. One, he needs a speech coach. He needs someone to teach him what not to say and how to say it. Like, he's got some bad habits, but it's pretty funny to hear him talk. Not the best orator in the world, but he's a really good defensive coordinator and now going to be the head coach at Ole Miss. Very interesting decision, Lane Kiffin. I don't know if it's out of guilt. I don't know. I don't know if Ole Miss asked nicely. I don't know if LSU said, "Hey, it'd be a good PR move." Don't know where it came, or if Weiss did. But Charlie Weiss's son, who is the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin, is going to return. Is in Oxford as we speak, and he's going to finish out the season with them, however far they go, as offensive coordinator before he does those same duties at LSU. I have no problem with that.
I have no problem with it. I think what it is it's Lane Kiffin trying to give a team that he loves a better chance than if they don't have Charlie Weiss Jr. It doesn't mean they're going to win, but it gives them a better chance to win because they could have a home playoff game. They could very well have a home playoff game. So, and that's expected to happen. So I don't have a problem with it. You know what, too, Ronnie, in today's day and age, I was talking about this the other day. These players with the revolving door from players, head coaches, assistant coaches, strength coaches, medical staff, whatever. I mean, it's not odd for them as it might have been 10 years ago to say, oh, this guy's going to be here. These kids, they're oblivious to that kind of stuff, okay? Ole Miss football players want to have the best chance they can to win, and they get that with Charlie Weiss Jr. And I don't think it affects LSU at all. I don't think there's an LSU player or a commit or a recruit saying, you know what, I'm not going to go there. They let that guy coach at Ole Miss. No, because that is a move for the benefit of players. Coaches always want to benefit players because it helps them keep players around.
Yeah, and Weiss will be able to talk to recruits and do his LSU duties, that he needs to do. It's not like he's not going to do anything LSU until their season's over with. He's going to be able to do both. Some other coaching news, Billy Napier, Sun Belt Billy, back in the Sun Belt at James Madison. So James Madison, who's got an outside shot at the playoffs themselves, is now hiring Billy Napier as its head coach, from Florida. I hate that for the Raging Cajuns. You got your favorite coach of all time who took UL off the trash pile, got them, winning like crazy. Billy Napier, beloved in Lafayette, and now he's in the same league coaching against them. Ain't that the most modern thing ever?
Yeah, that's kind of different, kind of weird, but obviously Napier wants to coach, and he's going to go to James Madison, which is a good, solid program. They're in contention for a playoff bid, only be in Division I for a handful of years now. So, yeah, I was glad for Billy Napier. I had him on the old Tigers Roar back in the day, Ronnie. Tim Rebro brought him Baton Rouge right after he got named coach, and we had him on that show. And I'll never forget he didn't want the LSU curtain behind him that we had on that set. We had to pull it down at the last minute or whatever. But hey, I was happy for Billy Napier to get a job at James Madison, and like you said, Raging Cajun fans very familiar with him.
All right, Lane Kiffin, we'll look for him on College Game Day tomorrow morning. Looking forward to that because that's going to be a fun one. With him and Nick Saban on the same set. Of course, Lane coached for Nick Saban. Both aren't going to pull any punches when it comes to thoughts and comments. Whatever comes to Lane's brain comes out his mouth, and Nick has gotten more loose with his thoughts, the older he's gotten and the further away from coaching. So going to be fun banter. Can't wait to hear what they say and talk about tomorrow on Game Day live from Atlanta.
It's going to really good. Of course, Lane Kiffin implied that Nick Saban told him to take the LSU job. He didn't say it in those words, but I mean, we all know what he meant. He talked to Pete Carroll. He talked to Nick Saban. He made that very clear. That was no secret. Okay, I'm sure there were other. Talked to his family. He talked to other people, but yeah, that's going to be an interesting little segment when Lane Kiffin's up there. I wonder if they're going to sit him down right next to Nick Saban. And by the way, you talk about Pete Golden sounding like that, and then Bianco sounding like Skip. Lane Kiffin sounds just like Saban, and then the hand gestures are very similar as well from when Saban has always been. So yeah, but that's part of it. That's the way it goes.
Yes, Golden does the like Nick does, except he does it like 10 times more often than Nick.
I think Nick's a better speaker than Pete Golden. He's got more time to have been doing it, but we'll see how that works in Ole Miss.
All right, Saints this weekend on the road against Tampa Bay Bucks, 8.5-point dog. The Pelicans, Tommy, give everybody an update on your 82-game bet this season.
Now, let me tell you, back it up first. Ronnie, your Saints this past weekend were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Okay? Mm-hmm. We knew that day was coming. We just didn't know what day it would be. Now, the Pelicans. Okay, I have lost 4 straight betting against the Pelicans. I'm now 10-13. The Pelicans are 3-20, but I'm 10-13 betting against them on the spread. It's been very close, but close doesn't count. I get that. And they play at the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow night. Haven't seen that line, but I'm going to keep rolling because I think after 82 games, I'll make money, although now I'm down a little bit.
You've lost 4 games in a row by a total of about 4 points, probably.
Yeah, maybe 6 at the most.
Right.
One of them was a half a point. One of them was 2. So, yeah, I'm definitely in that. Been close, but close doesn't count. We get that. We know that.
What's interesting is that Zion Williamson is out undisclosed amount of time again with some sort of strain. So if you don't have Zion Williamson in there, obviously that affects the point spread usually. I mean, it's going to, whether it's a half a point, 2 points, there's an effect there. Zion Williamson's on the court playing. The Pels are going to score more points. Pels are going to be a better team. When he's not in there, the perception is, but what's going to happen, Tommy, is that this team has gotten so used to Zion Williamson not being in there, and you got all these young players, and some of them are playing decent together. And so the line, even though they're going to lose, the line is going to be 10, 12-point dogs, and they're going to lose by 8, 9. And that's where it's going to be interesting. I'm curious if the line will adjust as the season goes on. But the good news is Tommy doesn't bet super big. Don't worry. Don't feel bad for him. If he loses money, he's not losing a bunch.
I can still get a steak here at Tremonti's.
Exactly. So, we'll get a chance to see the spread and all the rest of the way. All right. Really looking forward to North Texas and Tulane tonight, playing for the championship. Tulane wins there in the playoffs. How about this? North Texas and Tulane are playing for potential playoff spots for both teams. North Texas has their head coach is leaving to go to Oklahoma State, and that's already announced. Tulane's head coach is leaving to go to Florida, and one of these teams might be in the playoffs. I mean, isn't that the most modern era thing ever?
Well, it's just like when LSU played Arkansas at Tiger Stadium a couple of weeks ago, both interim coaches. I mean, that's just an unintended consequence of the portal and NIL and coach salaries and buyouts. I mean, it's the landscape of what used to be known as college football. Now it's like minor league football. I don't know what it is.
I would love to, and I don't know that it'll ever happen. Again, I don't understand why the transfer rules are still the way they are, because that's something the NCAA can control, not NIL. That's a law thing. That's a judge thing. That's a type of a lawsuit type deal. But I don't understand why there's just not a one-time portal, and that portal is in May. Just you can make it from, say, middle of May to the end of June. And that be your portal window, because you're never going to have the portal window be in a good spot because of academics. The fact that we're hiding behind, oh, these are student athletes. Well, at some point the classes have to start, and they start at the end, towards the middle end of January. They start towards the middle of end of August. And so therefore, if you wait for the playoffs to end before the window opens, school has already begun in the second semester, and so that's an impossible deal. I got Miss Barbara over here, a long time house cleaner and friend. She's over here hanging up a Christmas wreath. So thank you, Miss Barbara. It's got bells on it, though. We'll wait a second on that. So anyway, I will say that. I'll, she says hello in her sweet, kind way. But I will say this, Tommy, is that I just don't think there's ever going to be an ideal window, for this portal. It's always going to be messy. I mean, it's messy now, and they're going to change it to January next year. It won't be till after the first of the year next year. But so now you'll only be affecting, I don't know, maybe 4 teams or potentially 8 teams. But the way it is now, it's incredibly messy.
It is. It's messy, and a lot of people think they have a solution, but it's just very difficult to do with the things you just pointed out. But I think they got to try to get some kind of rules or something in place. A lot of talk about be like the NFL, where you can't talk to a coach if his team's still playing, But then stuff still happens, because it happens in the NFL. You still get that, hey, Ronnie, I'm calling you because so and so wants to know the answer to this question. Just tell me the answer. You ain't talking to nobody. I mean, all of that stuff's happened forever. Now it's more magnified. But, I'm just wondering what the effect will be on the fans and the popularity of what used to be known as college football as we go forward.
All right, TK, tell us about what's going on over at Tremonti's. And then don't forget, tomorrow morning, 10 to noon, ESPN Radio, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Lake Charles. We'll have Sports Shorts Radio. We'll be live at Fat Daddy's and Little Daddy's in Plaquemine.
Yeah, we will. And Tremonti's load up for the Christmas season. You can order online. They're going to have prime rib. That's their special at Christmas time. You can get a turkey, a ham, or a brisket, but you can get that prime rib. I've been getting that for years and years and years. It's outstanding. And all the wine and bourbon and liquor you need for the holiday season. They can cater your Christmas party, the office party, the neighborhood get together. Just go stop by Tremonti's on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, or go to Tremonti's.com. All the info is right there.
All right. For Tommy, I'm Ronnie. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you on Monday. When we get to Monday, we'll know who's in the playoffs. So we'll talk everything college football playoffs. The 12 teams will be announced, the matchups and all that on Monday. We'll also recap Lane Kiffin's appearance on College Game Day and a whole lot more. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.